anywhere. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes. So I am
Ma'am,
saying that. Hmm,
because of the valves present in the heart,
what is present there?
valve present in the like heart, like left auricle and left ventricle between that.
Correct. Walls. Okay, walls are there. Okay, this is known as walls. Okay, so in between the left auricle and the
Or
left ventricle, and then again the right auricle and the right ventricle, see what happens? Walls are present. And because of that presence of walls, it would, keep the chambers of the heart separated. Is it clear? And
yes, ma'am.
apart from that, we know that, okay, for example, if this is, I'm drawing a simpler diagram. So if this is like a 4-chambered heart, okay, this is right auricle, this is right ventricle, this is left auricle, and then this is left ventricle. Okay. Now see, because all of these, like they have walls present in between them, everywhere. Okay. So because of this, the oxygenated and the deoxygenated blood is kept separately. Okay. So that no mixing can take place. You're getting it? Hmm? Am I audible,
Yes,
people?
yes, ma'am.
Yes. So see, since the mammal's heart, or even in the case of birds, the heart has 4 chambers, and each of those chambers are separated from each other so that no mixing of the dirty blood and the good blood takes place. It means that the oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood, it should never mix, isn't it? Yes. Now, see, you all know that the mammals, okay, mammals, how many chambers are there in the heart of mammals? Tell me, how many
4.
chambers are there? Yes, 4 chambers are there. So mammals have a 4-chambered heart, isn't it? Now, if we are talking about the lower organisms, for example, if we are talking about the fishes, okay, so the fishes, they have a 2-chambered heart. Understood? They have a 2-chambered heart wherein they would only have 1 auricle and they would have 1 ventricle. Okay? So this is auricle, this is ventricle. It means that there are no right or left because there is only one of each. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. So fishes, they have a 2-chambered heart. Now moving forward, if you'll talk about the amphibians, what
3 chamber.
yes, very good. What organisms are amphibians? Can you give me an example of an amphibian?
Frog.
Very good. Frog is there. Now, can you give me an example of a reptile?
Ma'am, snakes.
Snakes, correct. So for all those organisms that are amphibians and all those organisms that are reptilians, meaning a reptile, so they have a 3-chambered heart. Okay, they have a 3-chambered heart. It means that they have 2 auricles, okay, and they have 1 ventricle. Okay, so here they have right auricle, left auricle, and they only have 1 ventricle. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Now, what happens in the case of reptiles? There is an exception. Okay, all the reptiles, they have 3-chambered heart except for one organism. Okay, except crocodiles. Okay, crocodiles are the only reptile that have a 4-chambered heart like us. Okay, they
Okay,
have
ma'am.
4-chambered heart. Now see, in the case of amphibians and reptilians, since they have a 3-chambered heart, what happens? The deoxygenated blood comes in the right auricle the left auricle receives the oxygenated blood, and both of these blood get mixed in this ventricle. Okay, in case of amphibians and reptilians. So here mixing of blood is taking place. Understood?
So, ma'am,
Yes,
both
ma'am.
deoxygenated and oxygenated mix, right?
Yes, they are getting mixed. In the case of amphibians and reptilians, the good blood and the bad blood is getting mixed, and then it is being, transported to the different parts of the body, because they are primitive organisms. Okay, they are not so evolved like mammals. So this is how their heart is. So if somebody asks you, in which organism does the mixing of blood take place? So you would say the amphibians and the reptiles. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Very good. Now see, what happens in the case of fishes, since only two of the chambers are there. Okay, so see, can you tell me what is the organ of breathing in the case of fishes?
Gills. Gills.
Ma'am, girls
Yes, very good. All
and
of you are right. And is there something else also?
no, ma'am.
No, fishes, they respire through the gills only. Okay, but if you're thinking there are more, so you are thinking about amphibians. Okay, amphibians can respire through gills, through some amphibians have lungs also, some
Skin.
of
Yeah,
them,
yeah, okay, okay.
yeah, yes, it is for amphibians. They can
Yeah,
respire
I
through
got
the
confused.
skin.
Like I thought skin also.
Yes, yes, skin is there in the case of reptiles. Okay, sorry, amphibians. Okay, now
Okay, ma'am.
we were talking about the fishes. So the fishes, they respire through the gills. Now see, what is the equivalent of gills in case of mammals? What is the equivalent of gills? If we are talking about mammals, like gills are present in the fishes for breathing. What is present in the mammals for breathing?
Lungs, ma'am.
Lungs.
Yes. Now, does everybody know this, that the lungs give the oxygenated blood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Because it is the site of like breathing, isn't it? Same thing happens in the case of fishes also. The gills, they give out oxygenated blood. Okay, oxygen rich blood is given out by the gills, and it is pumped out through the whole body. Understood? But what happens here in the case of fishes, that the deoxygenated blood comes in the auricle, then it moves into the ventricle, and the deoxygenated blood is pumped throughout the body. By the heart, deoxygenated blood is pumped, whereas by the gills, oxygenated blood is supplied through the whole body. Understood? Meaning, when this deoxygenated blood is pumped out, it would reach the gills, and then this deoxygenated will be made pure, meaning deoxygenated will turn into oxygenated blood, and then this will be given to all body parts. Okay? So this is how the circulation takes place in the case of fishes that have two-chambered heart. Then we studied about the amphibians and the reptiles that have three-chambered heart. But in the case of mammals and crocodiles, because they have four-chambered heart, what happens here? Like the four-chambered heart is there first of all. Okay. Sorry, the diagram is very bad.
Double circulation.
Yes, very good. Double circulation takes place in the case of mammals and crocodiles. Can you explain double circulation to me?
Ma'am, blood transport twice. Is it like that?
Yes, you're right. Double is signifying that the blood is transported twice, or you can say it is circulated twice. So here you have double circulation. You are right. Now see, let us see what happens and how is the blood circulated twice. Now, first of all, this is, let's name it. So this is right auricle, this is left auricle, then this is right ventricle, and this is left ventricle. Now, the deoxygenated blood from the body. See, whenever the body uses oxygen, it gives out carbon dioxide, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So the body will give out carbon dioxide. Now this from different body parts, meaning all through the body, every carbon dioxide will be collected by the blood. Okay. Now, if the blood collects the carbon dioxide, it means that blood is deoxygenated, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Is dirty blood, or you can say it is impure blood.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, very good. Now, this dirty blood or impure blood is carried to the right auricle. Okay? It is carried to the right auricle. Now, from the right auricle, it goes into the right ventricle. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, from the right ventricle, it would be pumped out and it would go to the lung. Understood? Why will it go to the lungs?
Ma'am, for getting oxygenated.
Very good. To get oxygenated, isn't it? So that the carbon dioxide is taken out from that blood and oxygen is given to that blood. So that is why it would be given to the lungs. Understood? Now, the lungs would make the dirty blood clean now. So the blood coming out of the lungs, it will be oxygen rich. It will be oxygenated blood, isn't it? Now, this oxygenated blood will come into the left auricle, and from the left auricle it would go into the left ventricle, and from here it would go to the different body parts, meaning again this blood will be transported to the body parts. So you see how 2 times the circulation is happening. Once from the body to the heart, then from the lungs to the heart, and then again to the body. So because of this phenomena, the circulation in the case of mammals and one reptile, which is crocodile, it is known as double circulation because the blood is circulated through the heart twice. Is this whole process clear
Yes, ma'am.
to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Do you have any doubts here? If you have any doubts, you can ask me.
No doubt, ma'am.
No doubts. All right. Okay, now let's move forward. Now moving forward, let's talk about something which is known as blood pressure. Now, do you know arteries and veins are the blood vessels?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Let us talk about blood pressure. Now, has everybody here used a garden pipe to water the plants? Have you used it?
Previous.
So have you noticed that if you press the mouth of the pipe tightly, the water comes out very quickly out of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you noticed that? And when you leave it, the water comes out slowly out of it, isn't it? So it means that if any fluid is flowing through a pipe-like structure, it exerts some pressure, isn't it? So same way, the blood that is flowing in the vessels, okay? So blood pressure, it is the pressure which is, exerted by the blood flow, on the walls of the blood vessel. You getting this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So it means that whenever the blood will be, rushing in our body, the blood flow, either slow or fast, whenever the blood is flowing, it means that it would exert some pressure in, like, on the pipe that it is flowing in. And what is the pipe? It is the arteries and the vein. The blood vessels are 2 types. The arteries are there, and then there are the veins, right? Can you tell me what type of blood does arteries and vein transport?
Oxygenated and deoxygenated blood.
Yes, so arteries transport oxygenated blood, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and the veins would transport deoxygenated blood. But is there any exception here?
Ma'am, like arteries have thick walls and vein have thin.
Yeah, that's also correct. But I'm saying with respect to the flow of blood. As
Like from the heart to various parts.
that is also correct. But see, what I'm asking is that all
Ma'am,
artery.
can I say?
Yeah, sure. Say.
Ma'am, in like from body to heart, it's like transferred from like the arteries, but like normal artery, but from uh, no, there's a like a vein called ma'am. Pulmonary vein and pulmonary
Hmm.
artery, ma'am. Like
Hmm.
pulmonary vein transfers like oxygenated blood, and pulmonary artery like transfers deoxygenated blood.
Exactly. Very good. Correct answer. See, all the arteries would transport oxygenated blood everywhere. Okay, except for the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery would transport deoxygenated blood. Then again, all the vein would transport like deoxygenated blood. And what is the exception here? Pulmonary vein. They would transfer oxygenated blood. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, very
Yes,
good.
ma'am.
Now see, okay, here are two things that you have to understand. Do you remember from the previous class, I told you whenever the auricles would contract, the blood will flow into the ventricles?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So in like biological terms, especially in the circulation terms, the word contraction, okay, contraction in terms of heart, okay, contraction is known as systole. Okay, it is known as systole, and relaxation.
Ma'am, it's called diastole.
Yes, correct. It is known as diastole. Okay. So if I say diastole, you have to automatically understand that I'm talking about relaxation. So see, when the auricles contract, the blood will go into the ventricle. And when the blood finally reaches the ventricle, the auricles now relax. There is no need to be contracted, isn't it? So now,
Yes, ma'am.
whenever the contraction or the relaxation is taking place, okay, it means whenever the systole and diastole is taking place, there is a pressure which is exerted on the blood vessel. Okay, so you can say that the pressure exerted by the systole. What do I mean by systole?
Contraction.
Yes, correct. So the pressure which is exerted by the systole is known as systolic pressure. Okay, systolic pressure. Now, the pressure which is exerted by the diastole, and by diastole I mean what?
Relaxation.
Relaxation. Yes. So the pressure that would be exerted by the diastole will be known as diastolic pressure. Okay, is it clear to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, very good. So whenever, have you like ever like experienced this? Like whenever you go to a doctor, the doctor like they measure your blood pressure.
Yes,
They,
ma'am.
Yes,
like
ma'am. Yes,
wrap
ma'am.
it around your arms and then they blow it and sort of
Yes, ma'am.
tightens. Yeah. So
Yes,
that
ma'am.
is measuring your blood pressure. So see, whenever the blood pressure, that machine or that instrument is known as sphygmomanometer.
Sphygmomanometer.
Yes, sphygmomanometer. It is used to detect your blood pressure. Now you must know if we are measuring something, like if we measure height, we take it in centimeters, inches, meters, isn't it? Like if we measure distance, we measure it in kilometers, isn't it? Kilometers or
Yes, ma'am.
yes. So there is always a unit for any measurement. Isn't that right?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes. So here in the case of measuring the blood pressure, Obviously there has to be a unit. So we use the
So
unit.
like, ma'am, it's like, I guess 80 by something mmHg.
Yes, the unit of blood pressure is mmHg. Okay, it
Yes.
means that millimeter of mercury. Hg is the chemical
Yeah,
name
Molecule.
for
mercury. Yeah.
mercury, right? So millimeters of mercury, that is the unit of measuring the blood pressure. Now, the normal blood pressure is 120 over
120.
80 mmHg. It means that this portion will denote the systolic pressure, okay? And this portion will denote the diastolic pressure. Understood? And it is read, you do not read it like 120 upon 180 or 120 by 180. No, you read it as 120 over 80. Okay, this is how you read it. Okay, so 120 over 80, that would be the normal blood pressure of a human being. Okay, and obviously you can make out that why is the systolic pressure more than the diastolic pressure. Can you tell me why? Why is this?
It's like contraction is something.
Yes, because contraction requires more energy, isn't it? And when if you're squeezing something, it requires more energy, isn't it? And
Yes.
more pressure is exerted. Same way, in the case of relaxation, less energy and less pressure is there. So that is why the systolic pressure will always be more than the diastolic pressure. Now, this will be the normal blood pressure. Okay. Now, see, if the blood pressure, okay, if the blood pressure increases above 120 over 80 mmHg. Okay, if it increases above this one, above the normal one, so it is obviously known as high blood pressure.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and the other term for high blood pressure is hypertension.
Hypertension.
Okay, hypertension is the other word. Now, this is a very serious illness that is, so many people have high blood pressure, isn't it? Now, do you know why high blood pressure takes place? Even though like you don't have to know it, but I'll tell you quickly. Okay, see, in the
When you
blood
stress a lot or something.
when you stress a lot, see, it can be one of those factors, but the main factor is here that, like, see, when people eat a lot of junk, okay, and when they eat a lot of oily and processed food, okay, so that food or that junk and cholesterol, it starts getting deposited in the arteries and veins. So for example, if this is the blood vessel, normally blood will flow through it, isn't it? A lot of amount of blood will flow. Now if some deposition start happening here, or if deposition is made here, then the lumen will, or the space will be decreased, isn't it? If
Yes,
some
ma'am.
dirt is fixed here, now less amount of blood is flowed, isn't it? And
Ma'am,
if,
could you please repeat again?
yes, from where do you want me to repeat?
From here only, why we have high BP?
Okay, see, wait. This is your normal blood vessel, okay? Now, the blood flowing through the normal blood vessel will be flowing normally, like how it does. Now, in the scenario wherein the person has eaten a lot of junk food, oily processed food, and having a very unhealthy lifestyle, no exercise, nothing. So for those people, that bad cholesterol and everything starts getting deposited in the vein, like arteries and veins. Okay, start sort of getting deposited here. Okay. Now, if you compare the area for the blood flow here and the area for the blood flow here, which one is more? Previous one or the recent one?
Previous one, ma'am.
Previous one. The area for the blood flow is more. But here, since the area is reduced, so the blood which will flow even faster, isn't it? Just
Yes.
imagine again that garden pipe. When you like normally use it to water the plants, the blood flow like, oh God, why would blood flow come out of garden pipe? The water comes out slowly, isn't it? When that
Yes,
like,
ma'am.
and then as soon as you press the mouth, how fast the water flow is, isn't it? So because you're
Yes.
decreasing the area, so here also the area is decreased, and because of that, the blood flow increases. And when the blood flow increases, the blood pressure increases. Now, when the blood pressure increases, it is known as hypertension or high blood pressure. Is it clear? Is it clear to everybody?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Hmm? Tell me.
Ma'am.
Yes, say.
Ma'am, is there any way to like remove the for removing the cholesterol deposits or fat deposits?
Yes, there are many ways. First of all, a
In
healthy
the
lifestyle. Okay, exercising a lot, and for those people, now if it is at an initial stage, then obviously it can be like done better if you have if the person who has this starts eating salads and less oily food, less salt in their food, so this can be resolved. Okay, but there are some people that even after having hypertension, they keep on their unhealthy lifestyle. So after a while, what happens? This whole artery would get blocked. Okay, so just imagine there will be a blocked artery, and because of that, the blood flow will be compromised, isn't it?
yes, ma'am.
And for those people that have a blocked artery, they get heart attacks. Okay, so in that case, what this whole artery is cleared up with some surgical procedure. All of these things are taken out. Understood?
Okay, okay.
So that is how like the like initial and the more simple ways to eat healthy, to have a healthy lifestyle, to exercise more, to walk more and all. But if the arteries get blocked, then it has to be surgically treated. Understood?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Now the instrument to measure BP, you already know, everybody does. Very good. So
Sphygmomanometer.
yes, very good. So the instrument to measure the blood pressure is
Manometers.
sphygmomanometer. So that is the instrument. Okay. And that is the instrument used to measure the blood pressure. So up till now, is everything clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Now we already discussed that the arteries and the veins, what they carry, isn't it? And we also know the exceptions. Now, one more thing here to know that the lumen wise difference of the artery. See, lumen is the hollow space. Okay. So whose lumen is wider? Is it artery or is it vein? Whose lumen is wider?
Ma'am, arteries.
Okay. Others, what do you think?
Ma'am, can you please repeat your question?
Yes. See, lumen, first of all, understand what lumen is. So for example, see, if this is the blood vessel, okay, and if I am like cutting this part and showing you from the front, like this, okay, so this part, the hollow part, will be known as the lumen. So my question to you is, the lumen of which of the two blood vessel is narrower? That is my question. Which one
Okay.
is narrow, or which of the two blood vessel has a smaller lumen?
Vein.
Ma'am,
Vein.
veins, ma'am,
Ma'am,
veins.
vein.
Veins, ma'am.
Are you all sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, why do you think that veins have a smaller lumen?
Ma'am, because in general also like veins are thin walled and arteries are thick walled.
Yes, ma'am, because it carry like high pressure blood from heart.
Yeah,
See, all
arteries
of
carrying.
your like logics are absolutely correct, but your answer is wrong. See, the lumens of arteries Okay, they are smaller than the veins. Okay, the lumen of the arteries are smaller than the veins. It means that the veins have a larger lumen. Okay, and the reason why the lumen of arteries is smaller, so as to maintain that pressure that is required. Understood?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, moving forward, we'll see that the like whenever the arteries they would reach any organ or tissue, okay, it divides into smaller vessels. Okay, so for example, if artery, as soon as it reaches a tissue or an organ, it gets divided into smaller parts, and those are known as arterioles. Okay, arterioles are the smaller arteries. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, can you tell me what is a capillary?
Ma'am, that connect artery and vein.
Yes, it is sort of like a connection that is present in between the arteries and the veins. Okay, very good. So now we
Ma'am, like a
know,
junction, right?
yes, it is a junction. It is sort of like a connecting point wherein the arteries and the veins connect. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Now, apart from this, we now know that what are blood vessels, what are the types of blood vessels, what each of these blood vessels carry. We also know the exception. Now, do you people have any doubts in this topic up till now?
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
No. Okay, very good. Now, let us talk about platelets. Do you know what platelets are?
Yes, ma'am. Helps
Ma'am,
in blood
present.
clotting.
Yes, it helps in blood clotting. Where is it present?
Ma'am, in the blood only?
Yes, it is present in the blood. So the blood contains RBC, it contains WBC, and apart from that, it also contains the platelets. And what is that one prime function is to blood clot, right? To clot the blood. Now see, whenever we get injured or whenever, even if we get a tiny cut on a hand or like or anywhere in our body, we see that the blood comes out of that cut, isn't it? But that blood coming out of the wound, it does not stay for the whole day, isn't it? After a while, the bleeding stops, right? So this
Yes, ma'am.
process wherein
Yes,
the
ma'am.
naturally the bleeding would stop, it is because the blood has been clotted. Okay, and this clotting of blood is done by the platelets that are present in the blood. Okay.
Ma'am,
Hmm?
ma'am, I think in sixth grade, like we learned that I guess there is a vitamin which like increases the number of platelets in your body.
Which one?
Like I guess vitamin K. I'm not sure, but like
Yeah, there are many vitamins that are responsible for the increase in the platelets. Okay, and there are many vitamins that keep the blood cells healthy so that they function properly.
yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
yes, you're right. And obviously vitamins are there to provide nutrition to the different parts of the body, and even to the such basic level, even at the like blood level and the blood cells level. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
now you might have noticed that whenever your blood clots, after a while there is like a very thick structure formed on the wound, black colored or sometimes brown or
Yes,
reddish
ma'am.
color.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, ma'am.
that is the clot.
It is the healing of skin. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, that very nasty, dirty black thingy that we see on the wounds, that is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
clot.
ma'am.
Okay, it is
Yes,
sort of
ma'am.
like a net-like structure. Now, obviously, we can't see it. And how many of you are tempted to, scratch it out? How many of you do that?
Ma'am, I
Me,
did it
ma'am.
many
Ma'am,
times.
I do.
See, I knew that. Even I have been so tempted to, scratch it out. It is so tempting, isn't it? But
Yes,
then
ma'am.
Yes,
our
ma'am.
platelets would be like, we worked so hard for you to
Ma'am,
scratch it
on a
out.
single bound, I do it like twice or thrice.
Oh my God, don't do it though. Again, if you remove the clot, the bleeding might start.
It will start also.
Yeah. So that is why one should not remove that clot. That clot is there for a reason. Now, after a while, you might have noticed that under that skin, like under that clot, when the skin has finally healed, that clot sometimes falls off on its own, isn't it? If you
Yes,
have
ma'am.
ever left it and not scratched it out, then it would sometimes fall on its own after being completely healed. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So that is all about the platelets and how they help to, reduce the loss of blood in case of injury. For example, for those people, like, do you know that in the disease dengue or dengue, how it is pronounced, in this disease, the blood platelets start decreasing. Okay. So what happens if a person has decrease in the blood platelets, then what will happen? The blood clotting mechanism of the person will be reduced. So for example, if he or she gets a cut, it means that he or she will keep on bleeding and bleeding if that like no blood platelets are there, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So that is all about the platelets. Now let's move on to a different type of fluid that is circulated in our body, which is known as lymph. Okay. The other name for the lymph is tissue fluid. Okay. The other name is tissue fluid. Now see, this fluid, now anywhere there is fluid in a body, it is primarily responsible for transportation. Like how blood is transporting oxygen and carbon dioxide. Same way, the tissue fluid, which is the lymph, it also transports something. Okay. Now what happens whenever, see, like for example, capillaries. Capillaries are sort of like a net-like structure, isn't it? So through those capillaries, some pores are present. And through that pore, many plasma, proteins, and blood cell would escape, isn't it? Sometimes you might have noticed that even through net-like structure, sometimes tiny particles can come out of that net. Okay, so when that particle comes out of that pore-like structure in the capillaries, in the tissue, okay, it forms the tissue fluid or the lymph. Understood? Now, there may be a question that would ask you, how is lymph different from plasma? Okay, see, lymph and plasma both are basically different type of fluid apart from the blood. Okay, but if somebody asks you like what is the difference in between them, so you would say the lymph, the answer to this question would be the lymph is colorless. First of all, it is colorless and it
Less
contains,
protein.
yes, it contains less proteins as compared to the plasma. Understood? So this question can come. Okay, so you will be prepared that the lymph, it is colorless first of all, and it contains lesser amount of proteins as compared to the plasma. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Now, after that, let us see what are the functions. So see, basically, the lymph absorbs the fat. Okay, whenever the fats are digested, so absorption of fat, it takes place by the lymph only. Okay, so it absorbs the fat, and apart from that, it also gives like a lot of immunity. Okay, and it also drains the excess fluid. It drains the excess fluid from, it drains the excess fluid from the extracellular space into the blood, from the extracellular space to the blood. So now you've understood about the lymph and its functions.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so with this, the whole transportation in human beings is over. Do you have any doubts in the transportation in the case of human beings?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. Now
No.
we will, okay, very good. Now we will talk about the transportation in the case of plants. Okay, so transport in plants. Now see, I don't actually have a physical, book that you people use, like physical NCERT book. I usually take the topics from the NCERT like PDF. Okay, so sometimes those PDFs don't have the topic as the book contains. Okay, sometimes it lacks. So if sometimes I miss any topic, you just point it out. Okay, that ma'am, you're missing some topic. Up till now, I haven't missed any topic. I hope so.
No, ma'am.
Yes. No, ma'am.
All done.
Okay, very good. Now see, like how in our body, for the process of transportation, we have our blood, isn't it? Blood is there for transportation in our whole body. But in the case of plants, blood is not there, obviously. So what are those different tissues? Do you know what are the
Phloem.
correct? So xylem and the phloem are the vascular tissues, or you can say they are the transporting tissues of the plant. Okay, so it is done either by the xylem and
Or by the phloem.
yes, correct, or by the phloem. So xylem and phloem, you can call them as the vascular tissues. Okay, they are also known as the vascular tissues of the plant. Or apart from calling being called as the vascular tissues, you can also call them as conducting tissue. Understood? They are known as conducting tissues too. Why? Because they conduct stuff from one place to another. Now, if we are talking about the xylem, so xylem is responsible for carrying, so xylem
What?
transport. Say.
Water.
Okay, xylem transports water and minerals. Okay?
And minerals.
Yeah, and minerals. Whereas the phloem, what does it transport?
Ma'am, it transfers food material.
Yes, it transports food. Now see, everybody switch on your camera. I haven't seen your faces nicely. So switch on your camera so that I can see you. Everybody quickly show me your faces. Let me see the face behind that beautiful voice you people have and such curious minds. Show me your face. Come on. Where are the other two people? Hiba and Abdullah, where are you? Show me your faces.
Ma'am, I would on, but I actually woke up few minutes before class and I just freshen up and joined. So like,
What? You woke up few minutes before the class
yeah, I'm not like,
in a condition to show your face to me.
yeah.
Okay. Anyway, those two students that I did see their faces. Hello. You people
Hi,
are having
ma'am.
fun.
Ma'am,
You people are. Yes, say what are you saying, Abdullah?
no, ma'am, I wasn't saying. Karishma was saying.
Okay. So yes, I was asking, are you people having fun in studying with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good.
I'm more than my school teacher.
More than your school teacher. Oh,
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
amazing. Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. Now see, if you are interested, then you'll study better, isn't it?
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
see, if you people have any doubts anywhere in any topic that I teach, or sometimes questions come in our mind like, okay, something related to this topic, even if it is silly. Okay, I am giving you that liberty here and giving you that permission that you can ask me even stupid, silly questions too. I will, not make fun of you and I will answer those questions. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, it is sort of like a freedom to all of you. All right. Now, okay, now you can switch off your camera. Yes. So we were saying that the xylem transports the water and minerals, whereas the phloem transports the food. Okay. Now, but this, like if you write this much in your exam, okay, for example, if somebody asks you, write the function of xylem and write the function of phloem, and if you write this much, then your answer is not at all sufficient. Okay.
Ma'am, we have the types, right? We have to write the types also.
No, the types come later on. First of
Oh.
all, you'll have to specify, like transport water from where to where, transport food from where to where is it transporting it from,
Okay,
and to
okay.
where. Okay, so
Ma'am,
tell me.
xylem transports
To,
water
yes,
Mhm.
ma'am.
from the
Water?
deep.
Yes, it transports the water and minerals from roots to different parts of the plant, isn't it?
Yes,
Different
ma'am.
parts of the plant. Whereas the phloem, where would it transfer the food from? Tell me.
Ma'am, stem,
Okay, stem and
leaf.
Leaf stem.
see, not stem. Okay. Whenever we are talking about the transportation, like let me give you a quick example. Like for example, the food is cooked in the kitchen, isn't it? So food is cooked in the kitchen and then the food is taken from the kitchen to the dining area, isn't it? So the
Yes,
food
ma'am.
is being transported from the area that it is being cooked in. So where is the site of cooking of food in the case of plants?
So root,
Root?
like I don't know.
Leaves, dear. Where does photosynthesis take place?
Oh, okay,
Takes
ma'am.
place in the leaf mostly, isn't it? So that
Yes,
is the reason why the leaf is the kitchen of the plant. Okay. So because of that, the phloem transports food from the leaves to the different parts of the plant. And
Parts of the
now,
body.
no. The body is like the body contains the whole conducting tissues. Okay. The whole vessel-like tissues are present all throughout the plant body. Now see, now your answer is complete. Okay, because you're telling from where the thing is being transported and to where it is being transported. Okay, now, so here you can see that both of them are independent from each other, isn't it?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Because the phloem will be transporting the food to the different parts of the body, whereas the xylem will be transporting the water. It is separate, no mixing here takes place, isn't it? Now see, what happens in the case of plants, since some of the plants are, like shorter in height, so those plants, they do not require a lot of conducting tissues. In those plants, diffusion can, help in transportation. But as the plant's height increases, okay, then the requirement of a proper transport system is there, and then xylem and phloem performs that function. So is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, very good. Now let us talk about like it individually. So if we are talking about the transport of water, okay. Now, obviously we know that the transport of water, it is done by the xylem. Okay, done by the xylem. Oh. Now, do you know what are the different components of the xylem?
Ma'am, something xylem vessel and
Ma'am, xylem vessel,
no.
trachees, ma'am, xylem vessels.
Okay, and how many components are there? First of all, tell me that.
Five,
Ma'am,
right? Four or
five,
five.
ma'am, five. Five.
5. Okay, tell me what are those 5 components?
Tree,
Xylem fibers, trachees, vessels, and
sieve tube, something.
yeah, sieve tube and sieve cells.
Cells or
See, you people are mixing everything together. See, first of all, remember that the xylem components are 4 in number. Okay?
Okay, yeah. Phloem is five.
Yes, phloem is 5. So if we are talking about the components of the xylem, first of all, we have the trachees.
Trachees, vessels,
We
xylem
have,
fibers.
yes, we have the xylem fibers. And finally, what do we have?
uh,
Um,
नहीं, पता नहीं.
xylem parenchyma is there.
Oh yeah, xylem parenchyma.
Okay, xylem parenchyma. So these are the 4 components of the xylem. Okay. Now,
Yes.
for the transportation of water, what happens here? These, vessels and tracheids, everything that are present in the root, they sort of are all connected to the stem and to the leaf, isn't it? For something to be transported, it has to be connected in some way, right? So just
Yes.
imagine the xylem and vessels like arteries and veins. Okay, they're like that connected. So it means that the xylem tissue or the vessels or the tracheids that are present in the root, first of all, the roots absorb the water from the soil, isn't it? And
Yes, ma'am.
after absorbing the water, the xylem which is present in the root, it would transport the water everywhere. So for example, if these are the roots, okay, I'm drawing it a little bit thicker to show you the xylem. So for example, if these are the roots, they are present below the surface of the soil. So xylem will be present here, isn't it? Now, if this is the body of the plant, I'm drawing it a little thicker. Okay, don't think that ma'am draws badly. Okay, nobody will say that. Now, okay, this is the worst flower that you could ever see. Okay, so just imagine that the xylems are present in the roots, okay, and they are sort of connected to the different parts, isn't it? Then only as soon as the water is, absorbed from the soil, it would, be transported to the leaves, to the stem, to the flower and everywhere. You're getting it?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
the reason why I'm saying this is because a continuous system has to be there. A channel has to be connected, isn't it? Then only the water can reach the different parts, right?
Yes.
And the xylem is responsible for not only the transportation of water, but along with that, it also transports, yes, the minerals from the soil. Can you name some of those minerals?
Sure.
Hmm?
Ma'am,
Something
oxygen,
potassium.
See,
Nitrogen.
Nitrogen.
oxygen.
See, okay, listen. Oxygen is never transported through the roots. Okay, oxygen is always taken from the air, the atmosphere. Okay, but if we are talking about all the minerals that are taken from the soil, then obviously, yes, nitrogen was correct. Then phosphorus is there, sulfur is there. Okay, and then
Ma'am, potash.
yes,
Yes.
potassium is there. So all of these are the minerals that are transported from the soil to the different parts of the body. Understood? Now,
Yes,
do
ma'am.
you know how the process of diffusion takes place? Now, this is the last topic for right now. How the process of diffusion takes place. Do you know what is diffusion?
Water displacement.
Ma'am, the intestine.
In diffusion, what happens?
A water displacing.
See,
Ma'am, the
basic.
Higher concentration to level.
yeah, the
Yes,
high,
yes.
higher
Okay,
concentration to lower concentration.
correct. Now, see, diffusion is basically the transportation of a substance. Okay, whether it is water, whether it is gases. Okay, so the process of diffusion, it takes place from the region of the higher concentration to the region of the
Lower concentration.
Okay, so let's see how that works. So for example, right now during the absorption, okay, in this ugly flower, during that absorption, what happens? The soil has nitrogen, the soil has phosphorus, the soil has sulfur and everything. Okay. Now, it is present in more number in the soil and it is present in less number in the case of roots, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So higher concentration is here and lower concentration is in the roots. So this thing wherein at one place there is higher concentration of something and at another place there is lower concentration. So this creates a gradient. Okay. And because of this gradient, all of these are diffused into the roots.
Diffuse into
Hmm?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, because it is needed in the roots and because it is less in number in the case of roots, so it is diffused in the roots. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is it for today's class. Do you people have any doubts up till now?
Ma'am,
Hmm?
ma'am, are there any functions of like these four? Any other functions visit perform?
Of what? Xylem and phloem?
No, ma'am, they're types.
Oh, the types. See, they are all, see, the tracheids and vessels sort of, they make a column so that the water can move up. Okay. Xylem fiber is to provide structure to the xylem, and xylem parenchyma, it can store the food, or it stores. The function is storage here. That is why these components are studied. Okay. Xylem fiber provides like structure. The xylem parenchyma provides the storage capability, whereas the tracheids and vessels, they provide a column so that the water can move up.